It's a bit embarrassing for me to admit this, but there was a time in high school where I thought I was a seriously good actor. I'd gotten into a phase where I would just yell on stage all the time. People were like, why is he so angry? But I just thought that was part of my genius, the fact that I was just so raw and real and just willing to go there. For anyone else who has attempted acting of their own, you'd know how cringe this is. It wasn't until much later when I took an acting workshop in Mumbai that I realized that my talent, at least for now, is totally mediocre. Since then, my understanding of what is good taste, has gotten much more sophisticated. But with that better taste is this understanding that my work is just not that great. It's definitely not professional. And when I look at other professionals, it can be sometimes discouraging because your own work isn't up to that par and you just don't know how to get it to that level. This is a phenomenon that every creative struggles with called the taste gap. Knowing what is good, knowing you want to be good, but right now you just don't have the skill you need to be that good. There's a writer named Ira Glass who has a very famous passage about the taste gap. Here's a bit of what he says. Nobody tells this to people who are beginners. I wish someone told me. All of us who do creative work, we get into it because we have good taste. But there is this gap. For the first couple years you make stuff, it's just not that good. It's trying to be good, it has potential, but it's not. But your taste, the thing that got you into the game, is still killer. And your taste is why your work disappoints you. A lot of people never get past this phase, they quit. Most people I know who do interesting creative work, they went through years of this. We know our work doesn't have this special thing that we want it to have. We all go through this. And if you're just starting out or you are still in this phase, you gotta know it's normal. And the most important thing you can do is a lot of work. Ira Glass in this passage is simply talking about the power of volume, of simply doing more work. And just the aggregate of having a lot of work under your belt will make you better with time. If you want to be a better painter, just paint more paintings than anyone else. If you want to be a better songwriter, get through your first 100 mediocre songs and you'll find that your sophistication with that talent will continue to grow. The volume of your creativity will refine it and make it more potent with time. This is a model I completely believe in, but in today's video I want to talk about a few other ideas about how we can close that taste gap, how an artist can approach pro. The ideas for this video come from 3 books. Chase Jarvis's excellent new book, Creative Calling, Seth Godin's Linchpin, and Austin Kleon's Steal Like an Artist. The first principle for how a creative can start going professional is setting deadlines. Set deadlines for your work. Deadlines are incredibly powerful. Without them, oftentimes our work has no horsepower behind it. It gets stuck in a place called Someday I'll. That's a line from Brian Tracy. One day, I'm gonna shoot it like this, or my acting is gonna look like that, or one day I'm gonna write this killer song with this special instrument. It gets trapped in your mind and it doesn't wrestle with reality. Setting deadlines forces you to stop having delusions about your work, forces you to confront reality and all the inefficiencies and imperfections about it. Without the constraints of time, your work has this hilarious and tragic tendency to just get stuck in your head. And you just enjoy that lukewarm bubble bath of thinking, yeah, that's gonna happen one day. It's literally never gonna happen until you set a date for it being done and shared with the world. Seth Godin breaks this idea down in his incredible book called Linchpin on a passage called Real Artists Ship. When you first adopt the discipline of shipping, your work will appear to suffer. There's no doubt that another hour, day, or week would have added some much needed polish. But over time, rather quickly actually, you'll see that shipping becomes part of the art and shipping makes it work. He gives the example of Saturday Night Live. He says that the art of Saturday Night Live isn't that it's always funny, but rather that it has to be up every Saturday. It's right in the name. Every Saturday, they have to ship, and shipping becomes a part of the art. If you look at the comments of many of the videos that SNL has produced, there have been so many where people said, this isn't funny, this didn't work, this fell flat. But they have also produced some of the most legendary, iconic, comedic moments in television just because they kept shipping. I find it works best where you figure out what a reasonable timeline might be to get everything that you want to get done and then shorten the time just a little bit so that you're just a little bit behind and then you feel that time pressure and you just gotta go, you gotta get it done. The crunching of that time will take your creativity from your head into the world, into wrestling with practicality. And while this is difficult at times, it is one of the most powerful ways to start becoming more professional. The second principle is deconstruct what others have done. This is an idea that I got from Chase Jarvis's excellent new book called Creative Calling, and he lists this 4-part system for getting better. DEAR: deconstruct, emulate, analyze, and repeat. Essentially, this format is giving yourself permission to copy your heroes. Copy the format, the style, the techniques of the people who inspire you. You can figure out their workflow, the way they train, how they conduct themselves day in and out, and then just stress test what works for you. This definitely applies to creative pursuits as well. With YouTube, I do a lot of copying. In fact, right now at this very second, I am copying Matt D'Avella's color grade. Deconstruct, emulate, analyze, repeat. By deconstructing and analyzing what has worked for others and then just replicating it, you will get better, you will make progress, and with time you will also find ways to inject your own originality into it, which will make you better. Principle number 3, play pretend with your environment, your tools, your wardrobe. Back when I was doing a lot more stage acting, I was very aware of this really profound phenomenon. Every actor would give a committed performance in rehearsals, they would start experimenting with the character, but when it came time to put on hair, makeup, get the wardrobe on, the environment and the set was built, everyone's acting got so much more immersive. The wearing of certain clothes, the wearing of a wardrobe, or styling yourself in a certain way, or using a certain tool, using a certain prop, it all affects who you end up becoming, who you end up projecting, the player, the character that you end up being in real life. Your desk, that's your stage. Your props, the tools that you have, these all affect your output. And while it might seem kind of like a trivial move, to consider your environment, to consider your look, your props, these all will have an effect on your creativity. This kind of ties into this idea of fake it till you make it, which is actually pretty sound advice. The point is, all the world's a stage. Creative work is a kind of theater. The stage is your studio, your desk, or your workstation. The costume is your outfit, your painting, pants, your business suit, or that funny hat that helps you think. The props are your materials, your tools, and your medium. The script is just plain old time. Which brings me to the 4th principle. Apply time, minimize breaks. This isn't really a principle in itself, but we have to remember that creativity, or even entrepreneurship, it's a sport. It's an athletic event, and you have to keep doing it to maintain momentum and to stay in the game. And while resting up and being a high vibration person is important, the only way you can really turn into a pro is to minimize the time that you're not being creative, that you're not working on your craft. It has to be worked on daily to maintain that momentum, that pressure. The applying of these ideas, these principles, is an iterative process. You do it, and then you reflect on it, and then you do it again. And in the doing of it, in the wrestling of reality with these principles, you close that taste gap. You become better and better, and eventually you become more of the creative, more of the entrepreneur that you had set out to become with your killer taste. If you're new to the channel, my name is Nikhil. This channel features one genuine video every Sunday and a comedy sketch every Wednesday with topics in mind for creative entrepreneurs. If that appeals to you, consider subscribing. And for those of us who are willing to set the deadlines, to deconstruct what others have done, to affect our wardrobe, our environment, so that we can fake that role even more. And lastly, to apply time with minimized breaks. To us I say, greatness is coming. See you Wednesday.